I think he's getting everything going on first.
The anti-show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey guys,
Welcome
Ross
to
here from Live Love Play, and I'm here to say screw you,
Oops.
Nick.
Okay, thank you, Ross.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's do that again.
That wasn't even the full intro yet.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Terry Lynn. This is episode 278. That's Gettysburg 7.
Good morning, fellow necrophiliacs. How are you?
Ew.
I know. And there he is, over there. He's contracted in the new Bionic Man series to play $6 billion man to play the Andre the Giant role of Bigfoot. Why? Look at that beard. It's Ceridian.
Gabla.
Good morning, both of you. How was your weeks? What did you do?
Morning, Terry.
Let's see. Mike, why don't you go first?
I'm still in the land of enchantment. It's enchanting. And I did finish Terry's computer this week. And I am so jealous. So jealous. It is a thing of beauty.
It really is. I posted a picture of it in the chat room. It's shiny and beautiful and fast. Really fucking fast.
I like my women.
Okay, then. Actually, not a surprise. It's really pretty. Got a 6-core processor and the new 1080 the GTX 1080. So my games look all shiny. But it's good to be back in game and kind of played one of the newest well, I can't say the newest featured episode because I haven't played that, but I played the Sela episode in Star Trek Online, the newest Sela episode, which was really fun. It was very good.
I watched.
You could have played. You could have just signed in when we were at work and played.
That's true.
I know, but
Now he's going to do the bashful routine.
I know. He's so, but it really is very nice. It's nice to be able to just communicate again without having to use a tiny little keyboard on my phone. So, yay. Thank you, Mike. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate everything you did, taking care of the doggies and everything. You're the awesomest.
thank you. I tried. I had fun. It was fun. I'm gonna miss everybody and the doggies.
Yeah, the dogs are gonna miss him a lot. So, what about you, Nick?
Well, let's see. I pre-ordered and I've got my reserved seat for Thursday night, 7:05, for the first showing of Alien Covenant. Very excited. I have not been this much anticipation for a film in a long time. I am really pumped up for this.
Well, that's cool because you know me. I'm not a real big horror film fan and not a big Alien fan, except for Aliens 2, because that was an action movie.
This one looks more like it's going to be like Aliens, just from what I've seen. But the reviews I've seen so far have been pretty positive. Some say, they all say the same thing. It's a return to the original or Aliens class, rather than what the series became after a while. So I'm very excited about that. And I
Very cool.
love Ridley Scott. I think he's fantastic. Um, Even some of the stuff of his that isn't so good, I still love. He's just got an incredible eye. And I've been watching a documentary a night, at least one documentary every night, and it's been great fun.
We heard about the one that you watched last night.
Tabloid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, seriously, when when the what is it? Description of it says it's a tale of love, abduction, clone dogs, and Mormon bondage. Really, I'm not gonna watch this. Really, that's just you've hit all the high points, and it was a fucked up story. It was like bizarre. I had never heard of this story before, and I was like, what? But the documentary I watched recently that is most like stayed with me is called The Red Pill. It is just eye opening.
Oh, how so?
A feminist looks at the men's rights movement.
Okay.
But yes, Robert Reyes, Mormon bondage. You heard that correctly. Um, can you just picture him sitting there and just his sweater and maybe his underpants? Mormon bondage? Yeah, the red pill. I can't even. You'd have to see it, Terry. But you got to go in with go in for the journey without any preconceptions.
For the red pill?
Yes,
Okay, I will.
it's amazing.
Cool.
There was one thing that was really interesting in it. Um, you know, she of course is very skeptical of everything they're saying, and then she's looking stuff up. What she comes away realizing about the family court system is just amazing.
Well, okay, are we talking about Lacey Green?
No,
Okay. Who's the woman?
hold on. Oh, no wonder my fucking computer. Sorry, you know what? I have not been on my computer since last week's show, so you can imagine.
I don't remember. I'm trying to figure out if you guys are talking about. See, my problem is that the term feminist has been kind of usurped by a bunch of women who are more extreme
Some of the
than
people she interviews are like
than feminism.
The editor of Ms. Magazine.
And I think that's what's, anybody who is surprised that men get the
KCJ.
shaft.
KCJ is her name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if anybody is surprised by the fact that yes, there are some shit that men get the shaft on, namely family court, divorce, why are men put into these situations that women are not? If they're surprised by that, then they need a mental enema.
Oh, well, they try to some
And
people
they're
try
not
and defend
feminism.
it.
Feminism isn't about, women's right to do better than anybody else. It's supposed to be about equality for all, and feminism should be making sure that everyone is included. Everyone, white men, black women,
that's what the
Asian, doesn't
MRAs,
matter.
the men's right activists, are arguing. That exactly what you're saying. But they say whenever they try and bring that up. Now we're not talking about like the she wasn't talking to the fucking gamer gators or people like that. She was talking
Right.
about
People
you'd
who are
have to
really trying to gain equality in a
yeah.
system that's jacking them around.
But when a
Absolutely.
guy says, like when they try and say that, 94% of workplace deaths are men, or that prostate cancer kills as many and is as prevalent as breast cancer, or the thing that's
The thing that
the
bothers
thing
me the
well the
most
thing
about
that's
prostate cancer, especially because I've worked in that kind of industry and in healthcare, is the fact that there's this gimme, which is okay, once a guy turns 70, you're gonna get prostate cancer. It's like if you live long enough, you're gonna get it. Well, I'm like, why? Why can't you work to keep that from happening? I
right.
don't get your lackadaisical attitude. Like somehow after a certain age, your life isn't worth anything anymore?
Well, and
Fuck you.
that's what they're arguing, is that men are disposable.
And that's bullshit. And
And
that's what feminism is supposed to be fighting against.
the one that really shocked me, and if you watch this is the part where I had kind of tears in my eyes, and I'm not even joking about it. Remember the I always want to say Procol Harum, the group that sang Whiter Shade of Pale.
That's it,
Boko,
Procol Harum.
the ones that kidnapped the 200 girls,
Oh, oh.
and Bring Back Our Girls.
uh, it starts with a B.
Yeah,
Uh,
Boko
Boko
Haram.
Haram,
Boko
Haram, right?
Haram. Well, in the months leading up to
Procol
that,
Haram.
they
Sorry.
had killed thousands of boys and
Yeah.
actually kidnapped girls and let them loose and killed the boys, and nothing was said by the world. But when they kidnapped the 200 girls, the world went nuts. And when you see the
Yeah, because
headlines
they
and the
didn't
news
know.
report, well, no, the world knew. They just didn't care because it was boys.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't
Exactly.
know.
I didn't either. But
And
she
so it's hard for
shows.
you to say that the world knew because the world clearly
Well,
didn't
no,
know.
when you see all the news reports that she shows, but what they do is they say, it'll say like 100 people were killed, including an old woman.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And
I'm
I
with
was
you on
like,
that.
I was stunned because I was like,
Because
I
it was
didn't
like
know that they had
yesterday,
done
there
that.
was to me yesterday, there was a news report about another horrific car accident on the Highway 550 outside of Cuba in here in New Mexico.
Outside of
This
where? Cuba?
outside of Cuba. It's a city in the north west section of the state. And the car accident killed 5 people, 3 of whom were adults, 2 children. Of course, the way that the news played it out, and it kind of pissed me off, the news reporter had taken a Bible from the wreckage, put it on top of a post near the twisted guardrail, and said, the 3 of the 2 children were killed.
My computer decided it was time to
Oh,
reboot, but I had to
oh,
I
that's
had to
weird.
cancel. This is the problem. You
Yeah,
know
it was
what? This is the problem. I need to at least sign on every
and
Sunday
it
morning
was like
before the
this
show.
bullshit twisted thing.
What did it say? I'm sorry, I
Okay,
missed the whole thing.
the news reporter had taken a Bible from the wreckage that was on the side of the road, put it on top of a post next to the guardrail that was all twisted up, and said 2 children were killed in this, and somehow because it made it sadder because 2 children who apparently were Bible readers, it was far more of they were far more victims. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, but there were 3 adults that were killed in this too. And my understanding that and even though it was a head-on collision and it was a truck versus an SUV,
Ooh.
the truck driver died. That tells you how bad it was. I looked at the scene. They took a picture of the scene. Now, I've been doing accident reconstruction. I did the accident reconstruction and I looked at Alan and I'm like, he didn't fall asleep at the wheel. This wasn't a drunk driving. His tire blew. And sure enough, they said,
Oh
oh, it
yeah.
sounds like his tire blew. And it's a 2-lane highway at, no lie, 70 miles an hour. You're gonna die. Everybody
Yeah.
dies. But the death of the truck driver and the death of the adults were no less important than the children. And I thought, you're just trying to suck it up and I thought, God, that's fuck you. Just because they were Christian doesn't make them more victims. Just because they were children doesn't make them any more victim than anybody else that was a victim in that horrible accident. And I thought, I'm sick of the manipulation and twisting.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
Because I can tell you right now,
I
I can
told you
tell you
about.
right now, if they had any other religious book in the twisted wreckage of that, do you think she would have done that?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh, I do. I
Oh,
do.
hell
Just
no.
think
You
if there
think
was
she
a
would have
little
put a
yarmulke,
Quran up there?
if there was a little yarmulke, or one of the little uh the what's the headscarf? The headscarf. Oh, I'm blanking.
She wouldn't have known what it was. I'm sorry, but I know New Mexico. She would not have known what
They yeah, I can tell you. Yeah, they're just yeah.
she would have thought of it as probably a baby wrap. I'm serious. They wouldn't have known. She wouldn't have known because she just wouldn't have known. And you're right, son. You're right. If it bleeds, it leads. And if it was a
Hijab.
hijab,
Thank you.
she
How did
wouldn't
I?
have. Thank you. We were both kind of brain farting. It wouldn't have happened. And if it had, I would have been just as offended because I'm sorry. You just because you're religious doesn't make you any more a victim
Well,
of
look
a
at when they
horrible
have
accident.
look at when they have a train accident or a plane accident. What do you get? The close up of the doll.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. I'd like to chime in for a moment and back up.
Go for it.
The men are disposable thing. Well, men have been disposable for forever. I mean, look at wars.
Well,
Men are the
that's
ones
one of
that.
the things they say, Mike, in
Yep.
the
Yeah, I
film that they
mean,
talk about.
yeah, men have always been disposable.
But
Save
you know
the
what?
save the women and children first. Who's that whole idea. It's just
Which led to this insane socio baseline of honor, right? Do the honorable thing. Do the
Boy,
honorable
Terry,
thing.
you really got to see the red because I think you'll actually be shaking your head in agreement with
Oh,
a
I'm sure
lot
I
of what
will.
these
I'm
guys are
sure that's
saying.
good.
And Mike, it's funny because one of the things they showed was, you know, talking, and then at one of the DNC town halls last year during the primaries, Hillary Clinton saying, being asked straight up, should women have to sign up for selective service, and her saying, well, I think that would need to be studied because I don't really think they need to be.
Oh, I cry foul. I'm sorry. Absolutely. I tried.
Well, now they do. Now
And
they
they
do.
wouldn't let me. And that was in 1982.
Shh, don't date yourself.
But they
Shh,
wouldn't
don't
let
do
me.
it.
It was, but again, I did it more as because I wanted my friends to know, my male friends to know that I supported. Hey, look. So instead of signing up for selective service, I signed up for civil service. I went into law enforcement.
And then, last night was tabloid with Mormon bondage. It was from 1977, and this woman flew to Terry. You might even remember this. She flew to England and is supposed to have kidnapped her boyfriend, who was a Mormon missionary, and shackled him to a bed and raped him for 3 days. And it's just insane, this story. And then the dog
Wait a minute.
cloning.
Okay, hold on a second. They're equating rape to bondage?
Well, she shackled him to the bed and against his will made love to him.
No,
7
that's rape.
times. 7
Okay.
times.
Okay, well then that's rape. That's not bondage.
Well, she was also into bondage from some ads that they had that she had posted.
Yeah, well, I'm letting it be known here and now. That's the problem that alternative lifestyles have with mixing up their lifestyle and healthy sexual relationships with unhealthy sexual relationships. Fuck you, 50 Shades of Grey.
Well, but
Yeah.
if anybody believes, well, anyway.
So that's interesting in a very
Before I
bizarre
forget,
way. Do
to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day.
Speaking of Mormon bondage.
Yeah, speaking of Mormon bondage, happy Mother's Day.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Mikey,
hold on, give me a second.
Yes, Terry.
do you have that snip? We should just play it right now so everybody can hear it
What snip?
from Ross.
Oh, you have to talk to Steve. He's the
Oh, that's
man.
right. That's right. That's right. Steve.
Playing it now.
Hey guys, Ross here from Live Love Play, and I'm here to say screw you, Nick. Visit my Twitch, watch my channel, visit my website, look at my content, live, love, play every day, and all that. I'm out of here.
I don't think Nick heard it. I thought that was great. Thank you, Ross. Don't forget to listen to Live Love Play. Watch him on his Twitch channel and support Live Love Play every day. It's been a very fun watching him play a couple of games that I haven't seen in a long time.
Sorry, I had to take care of something.
Yeah, you didn't hear it. Sweet.
What? What did she say, Mike?
It's not, she didn't say anything. Ross said it all. Ross said it all.
We played Ross's recording while you were offline.
Did you play the other thing under it?
No, you have to. I think he has to hear it. What do you think? I'll let him play it again.
Music.
Wrong one, Steve.
Hey guys, Ross here from Live Love Play, and I'm here to say screw you, Nick. Visit my Twitch, watch my channel, visit my website, look at my content, live, love, play every day, and all that. I'm out of here.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. We actually do have some Star Trek news this week.
Yes. But before I forget,
Yes.
show fan Sandy Clark Watson, happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Lem.
Mother's Day to every mother.
To Lem.
To all the mothers. I was gonna say I'm a new mother. I have a new baby, my new computer, but that's not the same at all. This week I'm going to put in here real quick because he just posted it. Dayton Ward, our friend, who's cracks me up, has posted about this trip that a bunch of Star Trek authors went to. So last weekend,
Only
Kevin-
2 arrests, which is pretty good for Star Trek authors.
only 2 arrests. Keith R.A. DeCandido, Michael Jan Friedman, Dave Galanter, David R. George III, Bob Greenberger, Glenn Howman, Bill Leisner, David Mack, Scott Pearson, and Aaron Rosenberg joined Kevin Delmore and Dayton Ward over at the Star Trek Original Series set tour. And they kept really, really quiet about this little private tour that they all had. I would have been awesome. They did. They got to meet some fans and sell some books, and it looked really, really fun. The photos that are coming out of this are hilarious, but at the same time, you can tell that the authors had a fantastic time. Please take a look. Most of the authors have posted about it on their Facebook pages or on their own personal blogs, and give it a look because it looked like it was a blast.
StarTrek.com even posted about it. I have that link in the show notes.
Very cool. I mean, it was really kind of neat because you get to see a lot of the photos of the actual set and how truly magnificent it is. And for those who do not know, this is the set that was originally built and then completed by James Cawley up in Ticonderoga, New York, for what was phase 2 and then New Voyages or vice versa. and then became the official Star Trek set tour, especially after the guidelines went into effect, because they weren't going to be able to.
Well, James had already decided that he was
That
getting
he
out
was
of that.
done, right?
Yeah.
But it's very, very cool, and
Look at that.
I know, right?
Someone who can work within the system.
And didn't
And if you
cause the
can't,
guidelines
do
to
us a
be there
favor.
to begin there and begin with, right?
If you can't, do something for us. Put on your favorite blue shirt and jeans and take a little drive east to the ocean, not that far from Atlanta, and just walk into the ocean and keep walking. Just keep walking.
Oh
Seriously,
man,
kill yourself.
it's a great,
Please
great.
kill
No,
yourself.
don't pull a Gamer Gator shit.
I'm not saying I'll kill anybody. I'm asking them to kill themselves.
No, don't do that on the show ever. Okay, I know.
I respectfully request that you kill yourself.
Request denied. So, let's see what else, Mikey. What do you want to talk about? You next.
Let me see. Eventually, I do think we should talk about gaming news, but for now, we're focusing on general news. Saturday Night Live. There's quite a few links there.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting.
Go for it.
So, Chris Pine appeared on Saturday Night Live, not this weekend, but last weekend. And one of the skits that they had done was an Enterprise or a Star Trek spoof on with Spocko, which was Spock's Queens or his brother from Queens or something. It was funny, but what I found interesting was there's the gentleman who plays Sulu, because I guess they've never had a regular cast member play the role of Sulu. However, the role of Sulu has almost always been played by a crew member, one of their set designers, and he's also one of the few people that have been around, who's still with the show, who had been around when it like first began. So I thought that was kind of a fun, interesting fact about. But yeah, anytime they need a Sulu, they grab this poor guy and stick him in front of the camera. But I thought that was interesting.
No, I don't feel sorry for him, Mike. He was getting airtime.
Well, yes, but if he's uncomfortable with that sort of thing, just because he I don't know.
If you ever read the history of Saturday Night Live, everybody on that show, even makeup people, were trying to get on camera.
Oh, okay. Right
Yeah.
on. But
well, that's how Al Franken got on. He was a writer. He wasn't an actor. He was a writer. Him and Tom Davis, and they would write themselves into sketches.
Same with Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Though he's scum. I hate Chevy Chase.
Interesting. Well, still, I thought it was.
No,
it was an interesting fact.
Hey, John Orndover. You know who that is, right, Terry?
I do.
He posted something the other day on Facebook, which I hadn't thought of, but I thought was very interesting. Have you noticed in the Wonder Woman trailers, it seems like she's Steve Trevor's sidekick?
Yeah, I did read that, but he only said it was the way that the trailers made it look.
That's what he's talking about the way the trailers are making it. It's her movie. I don't know if they're doing that because Chris Pine is a big actor now, so they're highlighting him as well as her, which is what I think it is. I think they're just trying to highlight the stars.
I have to say,
two stars.
I saw the trailer that John was talking about. And it is true, it was pretty Chris Pine heavy. But the 3 I saw last night, I was a little concerned because I wasn't seeing any promotion for Wonder Woman, and I thought, are they
Oh,
trying
I
to
have
kill it?
been. No, I have been.
But now I've been seeing a lot, and the
Yeah,
last 2
because
trailers I saw last
it's
night were fantastic,
it's
and there
still
was
2
only
months
like
out.
2 Chris Pine pops. The rest of it was all her. So I would have to say, I think it depends on which trailer you're seeing on which channel, because we
Yeah,
all
because
know,
the
like, if
movie
you're
is
gonna watch
still
Spike, I don't think they're gonna show her. I think they're gonna show him.
because
I
the movie is still 2 months out. So
Right.
you've got that, and I think with Alien Covenant opening this week and Guardians last week, they have to pick when they go full court on it.
I think
Because the movie going public is, well, their short-term attention span.
I think it also has to do with the scene that they were trying to showcase. Um, Being a contemporary piece, you back then, the the man did kind of have to come first, and it, was the a lot of the focus. So I think in that particular scene, if I remember it correctly, she he was kind of sort of introducing her to someone,
Yeah.
and as being the man, being the gentleman or whatever, he his role would have been to kind of take the lead on
Yes.
that.
And
But
that's something we have to take into consideration when we see this. This takes place during World War One,
Yeah.
yeah, different time, different
and
era, different
different time, different era.
expectations.
And that's why she was created, was to kind of push on that.
Oh, well, William
Yeah,
Marston, the
people
guy
had
that
different
created her,
expectations
was
back then.
if you read the history of about him, not only did he invent the lie detector, he created Wonder Woman, and his own life was just it was very, very colorful. Very colorful.
Yeah,
He
interesting.
had 2 wives at the same time. They
Okay.
all lived together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't get it because, I can barely handle one. Do you think Alan could handle another of you? Please.
No.
Poor guy.
Oh man. What other Star Trek news do we have?
Have you guys
Wait,
seen
aside
the
from Denobulans, which other species had more than one wife?
Andorians? Although they also had more than one husband.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so
Um,
the Denobulans, they also had, what was
yeah.
it? 3,
2
one
partners
husband.
each.
Yeah,
No, it was three
3.
total. Three and yeah. Each man had three. Each husband had 3 wives. Each wife had 3
3
husbands.
husbands. That's it.
Man, imagine trying to draw your family tree.
Oh yeah, it's like a thorn bush.
Vulcans
um,
were 1 and 1, and we don't know about Tellarites, right?
no, I don't think we know enough about them. But did you see the Star Trek cars imagined from Starship Designs?
Yeah.
Some of those are awesome, and they even included a Discovery. But I have to admit, I like the Ferengi design better out of all of them.
Really?
I have
I,
to see it. Hold on. Let me get to the link. Da, 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 da. Okay, so the first one is
Of course, my favorite is the Daredecks.
it's
that is
Wiki.
cool.
Like the green hubcaps.
I mean, I love the Defiant.
The Dederadex reminds me of Tron.
I was thinking it almost reminds me of like a big wheel. I don't know why, but it
Yeah, that's a
almost
good call. I will admit that I did like the Voyager one.
The
That was
Decora reminds me of the Batmobile, except in orange.
yeah.
I have to say, the Voyager looks like the only one that could actually kind of be street legal.
No. I hate to say it, but the Bird of Prey one does.
Yeah, I could do too. Sure. I'm not liking, oh God, I have to get over my mental block on this one. I'm not liking the Discovery.
I didn't either, but I didn't want to say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
so
you know why? Because of the cars, except for the Borg cube, of course, it's so wide. I think that's what did it for me.
We need to send out a congratulations to the family of Jerry Goldsmith, who finally and posthumously
Oh, yeah.
received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this week, along with a few others. In the past couple of weeks, it's spring. I should remember this. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce does a big push for new stars in the spring. So this is actually very cool and actually long overdue. So we will put the link into that. We've got a lot of links that we're going to not be talking about this week. So please follow up on our website, gntshow.com, and take a look at the blog for today's show. All the links will be in there. So you can kind of catch up in a big roundup.
Eventually, I'm behind. I don't even have last week's show up on the site yet.
That's okay. You've been busy.
Yes.
Making me a new computer.
And I want to thank Steve. He's been very, very patient. I did email him the Gettysburg Address stuff.
Oh, I think I have that. I might have had that here, but okay.
No, I emailed him the verbiage.
Oh, okay. Carnival Row. I want to congratulate Renee Echeverria. I'm probably butchering that.
I think you're close. I think it's Echeverria.
Yeah.
He's he wrote for DS9. I think he wrote the Little Green Men episode.
He's a great writer.
Yeah, we interviewed him, but I want to congratulate him.
We did.
His fantasy drama Carnival Row has been picked up by Amazon.
When did we interview him?
A long time ago.
Yes, a long time ago.
You know,
in
it's
regards
funny.
to Renegades, I believe.
You know, what's funny is I gone back and looked at some of the people we interviewed, and I'm like, I don't remember that. We interviewed that person? That's fucking cool.
I was gonna say it's
Right,
been a long time since we've done interviews, but yeah.
If I say to you, which person that we interviewed stands out to you immediately for both of you, what do you say?
David Goodman.
Oh, good call. Mike?
We've had some very interesting conversations, but if I don't know, we've had so many.
I know, right?
Two immediately jump to my mind, and I think they were almost back to back. One is Drexler, which
Doug Drexler, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
cutting in and
the
out.
other is Armin Shimmerman.
And Armin Shimmerman, yeah. We've been very lucky.
Terry and Mike can tell you, I was on my best behavior.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, my dear. So
sadly,
you guys are breaking up for me.
The one that stands out for me, and sadly, I can't even freaking remember his name. Oh man, Nick was the one that led the whole conversation.
Tucker Smallwood.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
That was a great one.
I thought that was fantastic.
And that was a total fluke. I said to Mike, "Hey, make it happen," kind of as a joke. And the next thing I know, Mike's like, "Hey, when do you guys?"
Yeah, Nick, you're breaking up. Steve says your ping is pretty massive, if you know what I mean. That's
what she said.
Very well played, Mike. Good. I'm proud. I'm glad you slam dunked that one. Well, while Nick, his
How is
connection,
it now?
A little better, I think.
I closed one of my windows. I was scanning the news as we were talking.
Yeah,
that was it. There was probably, there was probably some kind of an ad load
Oh, it really? That'll. Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's nasty. So yay. He says your ping is reduced, but it's still a little high.
I don't know what to do about that.
All you can do is what you can. So what were you saying, Nick? I didn't want to kill your
No,
thought.
I was saying Armin Shimmerman. I was on my best behavior. You guys can both attest to that. I like sat up straight. I had my hands folded across my lap.
You, I was so proud of you.
It was
was
really funny when he,
yeah.
because I don't know, it was just a different vibe when he sat down, wasn't it?
Well, it also too, we really were there. Just we talked a little bit about Star Trek, but mostly what we wanted to talk about was, the theater.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
said the
Which
other person
he's had
that's tied with him for me is Doug Drexler.
yeah. And what were you gonna say, Mike?
I mean, these are gentlemen that have had extensive careers.
Mm-hmm.
Drexler, Shimmerman,
Smallwood.
Smallwood. I mean, these are people that have been around in the business for a long time. And although some of them have had small parts in Trek, but their impact on entertainment has been a lot larger. It's a larger footprint.
Yeah,
They've
and
left a larger footprint.
um, yeah, like, and I still laugh though because when Tucker Smallwood was talking about people and he was like, and then Francis said to me, and we're like, "Do you mean Francis Ford Coppola?" Oh yeah.
Right?
And then Francis said to me, and then Bobby, "You mean Bobby De Niro?"
It's true. Like, oh my God.
Sorry, it was just you were talking about that, and suddenly it hit me how many people we've actually interviewed.
Yeah, it's
And then
very cool.
then there were the bad interviews, like this guy Ward something. He rides his Kevin Dillmore's coattails.
Except on April 1st. I know you enjoyed that one.
That was fucking the best ever.
I still want that thing to happen, damn it.
Yeah, you suckered us in. We got it. We're still walking funny after that one.
I
It was
think
like it was like your first night in prison, wasn't it?
we haven't done a lot of interviews this year, but I'm hoping once I get home and settled, we can pick up a couple.
Well, I did request Mike. You saw on the shore leave thing. I did request Michael Dorn and Michael Hogan.
I didn't notice, but okay, awesome.
Um, I want to take this opportunity while I can to send a shout out to Bill and Dan over at Trek Geeks.
Those two. Those two morons.
They invited me to be on their show last week because
Mhm.
the episode number 101. By the way, congratulations to Trek Geeks for their 100th episode.
Yes.
We love you guys very much.
Well, don't overstate it.
Nick. Oh my God, they were so funny. And we got to talk. Their episode 101 was a focus on their favorite first officer, William T. Riker, who, of course, is my favorite Trek character of all time. So they invited me on, and I had a great time discussing Commander and Captain and Admiral Riker with them. And it was awesome. I put the link in the chat room. It'll be in our show notes. And also, while I have the opportunity, I want to get this link real quick, if you guys don't mind. G&T is going to be supporting, although this is news to my co-host, by the way, everybody. G&T
Yes,
is
it
going to
is. Mike, strap yourself in.
G&T is going to be we're going to support Trek Geeks in their goal to raise at least $1,000 for the Nevada ASPCA for their cosplay in Scants during Star Trek Las Vegas. Essentially, they have a GoFundMe. Just so you know, the GoFundMe does not go to Trek Geeks. It goes directly to the Nevada ASPCA. and the support for the animals in that region. The money bypasses everyone. However, I think they said if they're going to be doing something like they'll donate up to $100, like $1 for each selfie that you take with them during Star Trek Las Vegas, up to $100. And then I came back and said the G&T show would match it. So I'm going to get the link for the GoFundMe page.
Boom, there it is.
Thank you. Nice. Thank you, Mikey. To ask that if you can't attend Las Vegas, or even if you do want to attend and you don't feel like waiting to donate to this amazing and wonderful cause. Again, it's for the Nevada Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Please do so. They're already at $120 of their original $1,000 goal. And trust me when I say, if they go over their goal, nobody will be happier than I. For the big doggy babies and the kitties and the other aminos in Nevada.
I loved animals.
So the big schmoobies, they need the help. And please, thank you. And we're really excited to be able to back Trek Geeks up on this, namely because we're not doing a booth this year at Star Trek Las Vegas. We'll hopefully be there with at least a presence for me for a press pass. We don't know yet because they still haven't returned my call and whatever.
Shocker.
Be that as may, I will be there. I'm just not going to have, we're not going to have that formal presence this year.
And a month later, I will be at the Salt Lake City Comic-Con for the first time.
Yay!
Already got our tickets. And my sister-in-law, she's 25. She's an artist. She's a big comics and sci-fi fan and all of that. Never been to a convention. So I'm taking her to that one.
Right on.
Gonna break her cherry.
Can I do book news at warp speed? Because there's some interesting things here.
Please do.
We need like a sweeper. Whoosh.
I need coffee. I'll be right back.
Ellen not bringing her coffee.
I'm not sure.
I think he's still in bed.
Wow, Mr. Lap of Luxury.
Okay, so there's a book that talks about Sherry Lansing. She's like I think she was like the first president or first person in charge of Paramount Pictures.
Very, very powerful woman in Hollywood. She was a trailblazer and very powerful.
She's got a new book out and talking about her career, but in it there was she reveals the reason why Marlon Brando was not in Generations as the villain, as Soren. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, I read that article, and I gotta tell you, I'm happy that it was Malcolm McDowell. I thought he was very good in it. He's a man who's very underrated. Doesn't get a lot of respect, and you know, if you look at his work, he's such a solid actor. And I think Brando would have overshadowed the production, don't you?
Yeah. Plus, one of the things that they had mentioned in the article was that the role was really action heavy, and by that point in his life, Brando was
a big man,
and it would have. So I don't think it would have had to change the character quite a bit.
I mean, it would have brought serious, huge publicity to the movie, but I think he would have overshadowed it.
It would have been Brando, not Star Trek. Star Trek film. It'd been the Brando film. I understand. There's a new book by Gerald Gurian. This is the third installment in his "Too Boldly Go: Rare Photos from the TOS Soundstage." So this is a bunch of behind-the-scenes photos from the third season of TOS. Also, Juan Ortiz. You've seen his art all over the place for TOS. he did a poster for each episode, and then it got collaborated into a book, and then those posters have made their way onto T-shirts and shot glasses and you name it. Well, he's got a new book coming, and he's pretty much done the same thing with TNG. There's 178 posters in this collection, I think, and uh, it remains to be seen if we're going to. I'm sure, but I'm positive that we're eventually going to see posters and shot glasses and a lot more items from this collection, from this new collection of Juan Ortiz art. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So check it out. Earlier we talked about Dayton Ward. Well, um, there's a couple exclusive or early looks at the Klingon Empire travel guide. So check those out. It looks interesting. However, what I think is the cover, I'm kind of like a little confused by. Some of it doesn't. I don't know. Some of it doesn't quite look like Klingon, but I don't know. Well, I will hold my judgment until I can see more of the book. But I'm excited to see the book, Star Trek: The Klingon Empire Travel Guide, and I think that's all I got for book news. And Terry's rushing back to their computer with coffee in hand. So right on. Nick? Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Here. I got back.
So yeah, what do you think about the Juan Ortiz art?
Me? I'm disappointed that the posters aren't out yet. I haven't seen them, but I love his work so much that I'm dying to see what they look like, and the fact that they went to book first instead of posters first.
Well, there's 170. I think it's 178 posters. So it to me it kind of makes sense to start with the book. That
Okay.
way, all of them come out, and
And then
based on what people
based on
want,
demand.
yeah, then make posters and other material from the ones that people like the most. Because otherwise, that's a lot of posters just to
That may not sell. You're right.
exactly.
I'm looking forward to seeing the art. There is no doubt about it, because I think there's only a couple of them shown.
I have only seen the one, which is the cover,
Right.
which has some kind of bird of prey, kind of like swooping down on the Enterprise D. So yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Again, I loved his work for the original series. We actually own a few of the posters, and they are framed and hung, and we love them very much. We think they're awesome. So I like his style. I like that broad graphical kind of that 1960s, 50s, 60s postmodern stuff, and it's very cool. So I'm excited about that.
Right on.
Okay. So while we have an opportunity, do you want to talk about unofficial productions real quick? Or not real quick? It may take us a while.
Well, we can either go there or gaming news. We haven't touched upon gaming news in a
You
while.
wanted to talk about gaming news because we both wanted to get Nick's take on this situation that is kind of brewing in timelines.
Yeah, timelines. Um, so there's a Borg event going on right now. It's the first major multi-week event, and the new alliance or new fleet that I belong to, TLA, the Liberal Alliance. Um, we have a few characters in there that are kind of goofy and outspoken and just not afraid to poke the bear. I think is one way to to describe it. Well, one of our I guess she's one of our squad leaders. She her her squad has always been Balls Deep, which is a play off of her name and her husband's name. Um, apparently, well, with this,
just so everybody's clear, the name of her squad is Balls Deep.
that's yeah, and it's like I said, from what I understand, it's a combination of her name and her husband's in-game character name. She's known as Deep, and he's got something about balls in his name. But so that's where the name originates from. However, for this event, they changed it up a little bit. It's Balls Deep in Your Queen, since it's the Borg event.
So I knew he would laugh.
Well, apparently, a lot of people on the forums saw that in game and have been throwing conniptions. So there's some people have been calling for Disruptor Beam to step forward and apply some kind of punishment or some kind of a filter to prevent that sort of thing. I don't know. So, what do you guys think?
So it kind of goes on the heels of our last discussion regarding censorship or I don't know. So I wanted to hear Nick's take on this because surprisingly enough, I kind of went, that name, even not just the Balls Deep in Your Queen, but the Balls Deep thing in a Star Trek game, I just kind of roll my eyes and go, God, that's just so anti. And I don't like it. I think it sucks. I don't like the names. I think, whatever. But I wanted to hear what Nick had to say.
Well, I haven't played Timelines for months because it just got too repetitive for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. If people have nothing better to do though than complain about the name of a
Well, here's the thing. Even in Star Trek Online, when they name, especially Klingon ships, something truly foul, I mean, it's foul. Like, let's face it. There's some foul names that get through the filter because they use, Klingon spelling.
But not J for Janai.
Right. Right. Is, do you think that there are names or things like that are just so foul that they're offensive? I mean, to the game. I'm not talking about, I find them offensive, but I can't change it. Big deal.
Yeah, now if I see like something that's like and I've not seen this. I mean, I've seen some things that made me shake my head and go, "Really, you 10-year-old? That's
kind of how I see it.
Because, when I name my ships or my characters, I personally take great care. You know how I am with the ships. I try and find something like that has meaning or whatever, and that there's a reason the Gettysburg has stuck with forever. But some of my other ships have been like the AL, for the from the Rihansu series or different things like that. But that's us. That's but we also know people that are part of the Do It series where it's just all these crazy silly names, Connie Do It, Diddy Do It, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if it's something like the rape the bitch, then I have a problem.
Yeah,
But
and that's kind of what I'm talking about is that when there's like I think the one that really kind of I actually reported it. I admit it, but I reported it. But it was like rape ya hoe.
Yeah, that's
on the Klingon side, and I thought, you know what, fuck you. Reported it.
Balls Deep in Yo Queen, that made me laugh because it's not. It caught me so off guard, and
because that's so Star Trek.
Well, let's not act like there wasn't some balls deep going on. And let's say, Terry, if there was a Trip's wrist nipple, you would laugh.
I would laugh, but I would still think that it's probably, I would totally laugh. Hey, there's nothing saying here that I don't find some of the shit humorous. Do I think that it, you know, here's the thing. Do I think that the game owners have the ability and the right to change and to change or tell you not to use a certain name in their game? Yeah, I do. I think that they do
They
have
do,
that
but
right.
then what if then it starts what we talked about, that slippery
Yeah,
slope.
it kind of does.
I want to clarify one thing. I do not know if her gaming partner Balls is her husband or not. So I do apologize if I misspoke. But it is, like I said, it is a combination of her and her gaming partner's um, names is where that name originated from, and also the squad that I run is the Defiant Ones. I just wanted to throw that out there. So okay, go ahead.
I look at it this way, Terry. Okay, let's just say you had a character whose name was like um something apostrophe it. Uh, you know, the using like the apostrophe to make it an alien looking thing.
Right.
And my character is Satan. And we combined him and it was Satanet. See, you're laughing.
Well, of course I'm laughing.
But there's
I'm
people that
not
would be
saying there
offended by
isn't.
that.
I'm not saying there isn't something humorous. My
And
thing
God
is
help me
that
that I came up with that quick.
where do you where do you draw a line and allowing somebody to use your product to be I guess
I
guess
guess
at
if
the
you're
end
going
of
to
it is
do that, then from
yeah.
the beginning you have set naming conventions.
Yeah, and at least
And that
there's
gets
freedom.
boring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. At least there's freedom in Star Trek Online. I think what was the other one that uh I'm serious. Most of the really, really, truly foul names are on the Klingon side. Although,
Shocker, you know what? They're the trash
no, it's
numbers.
just because they can use that the Klingon spelling, right? And you
I
have to
know.
read and you have to give them points for creativity.
There's been one or two where it's taken me 3 or 4 times to look at it. It's
And
like reading a license plate. When somebody's got like a funny license plate, but you got to decipher it.
exactly. Yeah. Like assimilate.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh. So
Callback.
yeah,
Callback.
real callback. So it kind of goes back to our whole conversation about, you know, you know what? If you want to be offensive, it, there are certain things that I have to admit there are certain things that I find in naming convention, especially in ships, in timelines. I haven't played in a very long time, but in Star Trek Online, when naming conventions, when it comes to their characters or ships, if they by getting around the filters, they think they're all there. There are certain times that I've seen some things that I find personally just horrifically offensive. I'll report it. It's up to the game manufacturer and if they want to let it slide or not. And that's all there is to it. And if you're making names to be offensive, I think it speaks more to the person,
Is there
right?
something wrong with being balls deep in the Queen? I mean, she was kind of hot. She was she was a dominatrix.
She was also just a bust.
At
Well.
times.
The rest of her was just like Data.
Hardware,
Fully functional.
That's right.
fully
Just
functional
one
hardware.
big vibrator.
Couple. I want to touch on
God.
Bridge Crew real quick.
I got him.
Oh, that's an image.
So go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
So, Bridge Crew's coming out at the end of the month.
I saw.
There's there's a Ubisoft interview that will be in show notes. But what I found very interesting is that this summer, Bridge Crew will be getting will be using a beta version, or it'll be in beta, but it'll be part of the game as a beta. IBM's Watson, which will give the game interactive speech recognition.
I'm
So
I'm so totally psyched about this. It's not even funny.
so you'd be able to say fire torpedoes, and the game, if you're playing like single player, the game should be able to understand that and fire your torpedoes. So I thought that was kind of very cool.
I think that's really very cool. We For those who do not know, Star Trek Bridge Crew is the first real virtual reality game that's being released at the end of this month, actually, after a couple of delays due to some brush ups they needed to do with the game. It will be available for Sony and HTC. I don't know if it's going to be Oculus ready or not. But we got to test it at Star Trek Mission New York last year, and we got to speak with the president of Ubisoft, who was out there, and we got to interview him. And I highly recommend it if you can afford the gear. It's not. Let's see, the game's only going to be like $60. It's really not that expensive. It's the gear that's going to cost you. So if you are virtual reality ready and you have the virtual reality gear, I highly recommend taking out Bridge Crew for a spin. You can play it single player and up to 4 different players. You do not have to be in the same room. You can play it multiplayer over the internet with 3 other people. It's amazing.
Terry's rig is VR ready now.
I know.
So phase 1 complete.
But it's really it's very, very cool. The nice thing is that you get to sit while playing it. It's not like you have to, get up and run around or anything. Everything is kind of console based. So you take a role, either captain, tactical, engineering, or science, and uh you have to have headphones and the whole thing so you can hear your captain's orders, and you go through missions and come across battles and all sorts of stuff. It's set in for the most part it's set in the JJ verse, namely because they didn't get held to any storylines. They can create actually, what's really amazing,
No,
they're
they've added on TOS. You can play TOS as well as
oh
JJ
see,
verse.
but JJ verse, I'm talking JJ verse.
Yeah, but you can also play the TOS. They've
Oh,
added
that's
a
cool.
TOS skin to
Oh
everything.
shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I wonder how long before we get a TNG skin. Come on.
Well, it'll give them time,
Yeah,
dude.
give
This
them
is a
time.
lot of data too, right? This is VR.
Yeah.
It's not two-dimensional. It's really amazing. The system that I tested, which now I realize was Oculus, had a hand controller that was very simple, very easy to use because you really only had 2 buttons on at the thumb area, and then there is an arc, a plastic arc that goes over your fingers, and it picks up every minute finger movement that you have, and it's accurate within 2 millimeters. So when you are reaching out for your console, it really does feel, or what you're looking at and what you're seeing is a hand reaching out and touching a console. It's really amazing.
Right on.
So
Because Nvidia, that's what you have in your
yes, I
your
do.
rig. What I wanted to point out real quick is Nvidia. They had some kind of conference meeting reveal of upcoming technology, things that they're working on, and they revealed they have something called Project Holodeck. And I thought this was very interesting. Um, Basically, I think what it's supposed to be is a virtual reality, um, almost like a conferencing tool. At least basically the demonstration that they had was they had a Swedish car maker and his team using Project
Broadway?
holodeck
Oh.
to kind of reveal their latest supercar. So basically, the NVIDIA conference, people got to see these four people. They showed up as robots, kind of like flying torso, but they were like robotic flying torsos. But anyways, the focus was the car, and they had recreated this car from blueprints. So not only did you get to you could get inside the car and look around, and but you can quite literally take the car apart and see how every nut and bolt is put together. And they were able to do this through virtual reality and stuff. But I thought it was an interesting direction that they're trying to go in. Again, the goal is a holodeck, but it's like everyone has a different take on it, and this is just another
It kind
take.
of it makes sense to me. It kind of goes to the fact that let's face it, most of the technology leaps that we've had in our for planetary or whatever has always been for commercial or military purpose. And when you get when do you get the greatest toys? You get the greatest toys when there's an actual commercial need for the technology. And this is interesting because now we're seeing what NVIDIA is using its R&D and its research for to become to use this kind of hyper conferencing, right? Being able to, how cool would that be to be like in London and to jump onto a virtual reality and jump into like a virtual room with somebody in South America
In Tokyo or
But
wherever.
you
or
know what's
wherever.
funny, Terry?
What's that?
You know, working in government and having worked for business, they all claim to want to cut costs and do all this. And, like teleconferencing, it's a great tool. You can do it from your desk with I mean, Skype is like the very low end of it,
It is.
considering some of the things you can do. But yet, they all still have these conferences where you have to fly across
Yep.
the country or wherever. They just don't want to give up the the time out of the office is basically what it comes to.
I would have to say I agree to a certain extent. Um, there are certain things where that personal interaction brings more to the table. In certain businesses, I don't know how it would be in the military. I really don't, or in government situations. But when it comes to certain businesses, I want to meet my clients face to face. And
I think though that there's a case to be made that like uh you
You
I
can't
don't
be
know.
FaceTime sometimes. For some things, there's no substitute for actual,
I still
you
say
know,
that over
pounding the
50%
flesh
of
and
there's still over 50% of those times could be spent doing it video conferencing
yeah,
or whatever.
I'm sure that there are many opportunities that could be done that way, but every once in a while you do have to press the flesh.
And even in for work, there's so many jobs that could be done
from
telework.
home.
Yep.
But there's this old belief that unless you're in the office, you're not working. I can
That's a
tell you 100% clarity, and everybody in my office agrees, they feel the same way. They get far more done when we're allowed to telework than when we're in the office.
I'm more productive at home than I am in the office because I'm not, chit-chatting or whatever, right?
Exactly. People aren't coming in and out.
Be
And
that as it may,
and
it's a
you also
control
get more
issue.
done at home. Like if I'm writing an article, I throw laundry in, I can multitask.
Yeah, but and that's the thing, right? Your boss doesn't want to pay you for doing laundry. That's
Yeah,
exactly how they think of it. This is their mentality. It's
but
like,
when I
"Oh
can
my
write
God, if
twice as
they're
many
home, they might do laundry."
stories at home because I'm not being interrupted every 5 minutes.
I know that.
Yeah, there's
You know
the
that.
whole water cooler chat idea. Uh, how much lost productivity is done by just just like you were saying, the chit chat with your neighbor or with the person three cubicles down. I mean,
You know why big bosses don't like it? It eliminates good idea fairies that people have to act on right away.
Yeah, it would. But again, to me, that it for a boss, it's a control issue. They don't
Yeah.
have their, they were trained to be above a group, and if the group isn't there, they don't feel like they're controlling everything or anything, even though they could control them from home. Really. Seriously. I have a boss. I love him. I could totally just talk to him on the phone because he travels so damn much. That's how he kind of works things anyway.
Right.
Back to the
It
Future 2. There's that scene where
McFry?
yes, exactly, the McFry scene where the boss shows up on the big screen and every fax in the house starts printing out the same message. And I mean, why not? I mean,
Well, if you've got deadlines and you're meeting those deadlines, and I'm very lucky. This is how my boss is. If you're meeting your deadlines, she doesn't care.
Well, that's because she treats you like an adult.
Yeah.
And you're acting like an adult by actually meeting your deadlines. I
Yeah.
mean, gee, you're getting your job done. Let's face it, not every job has
No.
the ability to work from home.
No.
But when it comes to
Construction
these
workers have to
when
be
it
at the
comes to the high
construction
tech
site.
things like this, or R&D projects, the ability, especially when you've got, yes, you're going to have to fly and, like Mike said, press the flesh every so often. But the fact of the matter is, on a daily basis, I'm dealing with it right now with a computer company that we are completely revamping our computer systems at work. We're
Ugh.
dumping our proprietary and we're going to a completely new integrated system.
Oh God.
They have an office in San Francisco and an office in India, and trying to get 3 offices across the globe to talk to one another has been a challenge.
You want to hear something really funny? Where I work, we have the IT department that's about 3 buildings down. It's like less than an eighth of a mile down the road. And we always used to be able, if I was having trouble, to call and somebody would be right over. Then the government decided that we're going to have a centralized point where you put in your trouble ticket. So now I have to call Kentucky or Oklahoma or wherever the switchboard takes me. It's Kentucky, Oklahoma, or Texas, I think, who then let the people know an eighth of a mile down the street. So something that somebody would have been over 10 minutes ago before, now it's like 4 hours or a day before they can come over and help, instead of just being able to pick up and say, "Hey Donna, I've got this issue. And they can log in from their office and, do the virtual
Yeah.
keyboard thing." But now there's another layer in between, and it's like, really?
See, now I coming at this too, in understanding, gee, a holodeck and being able to kind of meet somebody in a room in a virtual reality kind of way would be very, very cool. However, it's still a long way off.
Yeah.
And it's still, again, for me, I actually have clients, and I have many clients who don't even have fucking running water, let alone
Yeah.
internet capability. So for me, in my corporate office or in my business, amongst my business partners, it would be very, very easy. But when it comes to actually serving my clients, it's a
Well, yeah.
ridiculous, yeah, it's a ridiculous idea.
yeah,
Be that as it may, it'll happen one day.
there are some businesses and some some positions that really should not uh, that don't really work with it. I mean, Alan and I were talking the other day. He works in hospitality. That really is one of those businesses that really should not be allowed to telecommute. You don't want to phone in,
Right.
when when you're dealing with people in a hotel. You want face to face. You want something
But
resolved
it's also
immediately.
too, how would hotels suffer by the lack of people traveling? I
That
mean,
is also
Yeah.
true.
as
Now, I
Yeah.
have a
technology
question because I
advances, they
don't
hurt. What's that?
understand how it works in this day of the computer and all of that. Do people need to be on like the Wall Street floor? Couldn't that all be done through computers?
I I
I honestly
don't
don't know. I'm not trying to be a smartass.
I really don't know. I
I think
don't
a lot
know.
of it already is. It's just the people on the floor are the ones that are actually um, handling the physical transactions. I mean, yeah, it could probably be done virtually.
I was going to say the market really is for the most part done virtually now or electronically now anyway.
Oh, well, with that ransomware that just hit 2 days ago,
Ugh,
if that ever hits all the stock markets at once,
right? I
oh,
mean, let's face it. That's an excellent example of a terrorist attack. It's just not it's not being made out as such because nobody got physically hurt to our knowledge.
right.
But they attacked hospitals, and the
Yeah.
UK hospitals had to shut down and only take emergency patients because they didn't have access to any of their computers, any of their patients' medical records. Um, Part of my beef on that, again, coming from that hospital risk management standpoint, I'm infuriated by this because there was an actual request and a denial for increased protection 2 years ago, not just in the UK, but in other countries that were affected as well, where there was a request for additional safety measures to be put into place. And there was a conscious decision that said, nope, we can't afford it right now. And they ended. Now, what if happened? What
Now,
if,
isn't that always the way though, Terry? No, we
oh,
can't afford it right now.
right.
And
And
then
then
a
they
few
get
years
hit.
down the line, something happens and they go, "Well, why didn't
Why
this
didn't
happen?"
it?
I
Yeah.
mean, look at from my research standpoint of what I research and stuff, look at the post-war years between World War I and World War II, and then people say, "How were we not ready for World War II?" Because you only had like 900 officers and a 100,000 man army, and you had them training with broomsticks, simulating rifles, and then you wonder why, up until about
Exactly.
1943, there was why in 1942, 43 we're getting our asses kicked in Africa because you decided that there would never be another war.
We as a people, and I'm not, and I need to be very, very clear. This isn't a conservative or a liberal thing. We as a species are notorious and have a history and will continue to make the same mistakes of w- a pound of cure.
Yeah.
That
Well,
whole
a
an
great
ounce of
example, Terry.
prevention. We're notorious for not putting up the ounce of prevention. We are always working on the backside of the downside.
Well, and a great
And
example of that, and it's a total nonpartisan thing. Um, Dealing with a pandemic after it has started,
right?
rather than being prepared for it in case it does come.
Well, and that's a perfect example, Nick, and I want to delve into it a little bit more too because it goes into what is the role of any healthcare organization, specifically for us, like the CDC.
Do you
There's this
think?
idea that the CDC is only there to prevent, um, is only there to work and prevent or to care for American patients on American ground, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why are they going to Africa?
No, they're
Because
a worldwide organization.
exactly. The CDC needs to know what the fuck is going on in Africa, in China, in South America, and because that's where the fucking viruses start.
Yeah.
You want to talk Zika? Where did Zika start? Right?
Central America.
And it's coming up. It's a threat to our people. It's
The
a
last
threat
thing
to the
I
health
saw
of our
that
citizens. Yeah.
1 in 4 people in Puerto Rico will be infected with Zika.
Which is terrifying because I got bit by mosquitoes in Puerto Rico.
Well, that's what you get for going there.
I know. But
Speaking of
they
which,
were
how
itchy.
was the food?
In Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Um, I can't say we ate in
Oh.
Puerto Rico. We
I
had
wish
beer.
Alan was here because I would ask how the women were. I love Puerto Rican.
We got to the hotel at 10 o'clock at night. We woke
Oh,
up. We
yeah.
walked across the street to the ship. That was it. Seriously, that was it.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, but you're right. And I have firsthand experience with dealing with people who went over from where I work, working hand in hand with the CDC, uh, who deployed to Africa
Yeah.
for the
Ebola.
Ebola outbreak. And a lot of people don't realize that, they think the DoD only deals with war. People do not realize the medical intelligence and the
Thank you.
medical research that the DoD does, not just to protect their troops that deploy, but for overall, I mean, why else would they be, looking at yellow fever and things? It's because the military has always been a leader in medical research,
Which is and I don't and I'm trying to kind of gear this back towards Star
which
Trek.
a Starfleet medical show would be
Right.
awesome.
Oh my god, I keep telling you, a Starfleet medical show would be fucking awesome. Especially because they could make just so much shit up, right?
Oh yeah, oh my God.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Just seriously, it'd be great. But kind of on the heels of that, going from the technology advancement inspired by Star Trek from holodeck to the new winners of the tricorder.
Before I
Um,
forget,
yeah,
Dayton was nominated for something, wasn't he?
Scribe
the
Awards.
Scribe
Yeah.
Awards.
Yeah.
He was nominated for 2 Scribe Awards. We talked about that last week and again today.
We did?
Yeah.
No, he just announced it this week, I thought.
He announced it last Sunday morning when we were on the show.
Yeah, it was
Was I here?
on the
Because
air.
I don't.
I remember talking about it. Well, even still, it doesn't matter. We love talking about Dayton.
Well,
So
let's
2
not
Scribe
push it.
Awards. One for his 24 book and one for a Star Trek book. So congratulations.
Bathing with Kevin, was that the Star Trek book?
No.
I think it was Elusive Salvation.
That was it. It was Elusive Salvation. Yeah.
Bathing with Kevin. Oh, the visual. Make it stop.
Oh.
You did that one to yourself, dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know.
Did you have any topic that you wanted to touch on, Nick, this week?
But no, I really like where we're going, and I didn't mean to cut it off, but it just hit me talking about all this with Dayton and the Scribe Award. But if you were to be able, Terry, if you were told you were going to be showrunner for a 10-episode miniseries of Trek, but it had to be something specific.
You mean self-contained? 10 episodes?
Yes. Like Starfleet Medical, Starfleet Jag, Section 31, anything like that. What would you choose? And Mike, what would you choose?
God, 10 episodes for Star Trek. Ugh. I would probably, it's going to sound funny because I would probably do something I know that I'm familiar with, that I'm comfortable with, and it would probably be a mix. It would probably be it would be a mix. It would be how does Starfleet deal with medical malpractice?
So kind of like a Star Trek.
Like a medical error, and
it'd be court and
it would
medicine.
Kind of like a Law and Order where you have the investigation and then the medical, the trial.
Yeah.
Or the discovery or whatever.
Something along those lines, yeah. I mean, it would be a bit different because of the, it almost like a court martial kind of thing where, the error was so bad or egregious that, how do you deal with that? That how would something like that occur when you're dealing with somebody who's in Starfleet, like Crusher?
Well, I was thinking something along the lines of too, they treat a species that they've never come across before. They're trying to wing it to save the life. It dies, and then the other species says, this was willful. Didn't know what you were doing, and You killed him.
God, McCoy,
Kind of.
didn't he
I
run
was
into
just gonna
that?
say, kind of like McCoy in the Undiscovered Country.
Yeah, is what he did. Could the precordial, which was very funny because they don't even use them now, but the precordial thump, did it actually kill him? That's
Yeah.
something that you know.
And we all know, because we all knew McCoy for decades, that he would never let any patient, he wouldn't do anything to hurt a patient.
Right.
But if you're a Klingon and you're looking at it, oh, look, you said you had been drinking and you didn't know Klingon physiology and blah, 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 and all of that. So yeah, that might be interesting. Or if it's a young doctor like Bashir in the first couple of seasons.
What becomes the pattern of medical norm, or the pattern of practice, or the official, if you do not know the species, do you touch them?
Yeah, I was going to say, Mbenga was a Vulcan specialist, a human doctor, Vulcan specialist. How many specialties would there be in Starfleet medicine?
Actually, I make the argument that medicine in Star Trek is not medicine as we know it, but more veterinary.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
I think doctors should, and that's why I really want to say this isn't meant to slam veterinarians. If anything, it shows that veterinarians have talent that our physicians do not. Our physicians are human specialists.
Do
Phlox
you
was brilliant in the fact that he was a veterinarian, and
Exactly.
do
that's
you
what made
guys
him work so well
do
in
Right.
either of you
Enterprise.
know, for the military, what the main job of the veterinary corps is? Now, there was a time, of course, when it was all horses and all of that, but do you know what their main job is now?
No, I mean, assuming besides
Back
dogs.
up the medicine or back up doctors.
They are the food inspectors and all things like that.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Eh,
And there's
eh,
always a shortage of veterinarians in the military.
Well, now you know. I have a very high level of respect for veterinarians, namely because I mean, I take my dogs to the vet, right? Our vet, who happens to be a dog and cat specialist, she works with 2 other vets, one of whom is, because we live in New
Horses?
Mexico, we live where there's horses and
Yep.
cattle. So there's a cattle and horse specialist, and there's also the exotics specialist. And Jesus Christ, he knows birds,
Yeah.
reptiles, fish. This They're all different, folks.
And just think about that. What you were talking about with the medical one, Terry,
Right.
you could even have that in. We've discovered a planet and there's a type of aquatic life form that we've never seen before, and who's going to, it's not security that's going to check this out. It's going to be the medical corps.
And having to understand the chemistry. Now, the one thing that all of our species here on Earth have in common, for the most part, there's still a few species that are very different, but for the most part, everything is carbon and iron based, right?
Yeah.
Everything's carbon based. All of our, if an animal bleeds on this planet, it typically bleeds iron red blood.
Imagine being a veterinarian in Starfleet getting to work on a Horta,
Right? Or
silicon
a
based.
Vulcan,
Yeah.
or what about a Bolian, acidic
Yeah.
blood?
Yeah. I was just going to say, come across a xenomorph, acid for blood.
It's like, holy shit, how do you perform surgery on that?
Yeah.
It's a remarkable. I would love to delve into Star Trek medicine. I think it would be a blast.
Okay. Mike?
well, this is a tough one because there's a lot of directions that you can go with. One idea that 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 I would probably be interested to see is a single war story played out over 10 episodes. Um, kind of like the siege of AR,
Yeah.
where you something important has to happen. It's
Well, does it, or could it
combat
just
or
be that unit?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could do with it. I mean, but so just I think a war story would work in a 10 episode thing. Um, but there's the medical definitely. Uh, there's just so much. It's such a broad possibility.
But if you got to just they pick and really get into the nitty gritty of one thing, what do you think you would choose?
I have no idea.
Well, we'll let you think on it a week.
I would like to see uh, something along the lines, and it would actually. I know this is going to drive people crazy. Uh, Go back, kind of in a prequel way, um, or you could do it now. But a team, a colonization team, the first people to go on to terraform a planet or
Ooh.
to start to set up, kind of. Terry, do you remember years ago I actually thought about writing the fan fiction called Advanced Team, Star Trek Advanced Team?
No, I
The,
never heard. I don't remember.
they're the people that, like, when we would deploy, we would send what we call an advance party. So let's say we were deploying to uh, uh, let me just come up with something. Let's say we were going to have a presence in uh, Nigeria because they decided to put boots on the ground to fight Boko Haram. Well, you have advance parties that go in and start the signal people laying down cable and the security and the people setting up the barracks and all of that for the people that are going to be coming in. So something like along those lines, the people that go in, the first wave that begin setting up for the
Okay.
Federation on a planet
That would
I,
be fascinating.
and the
Go ahead, Mike.
hardships that they endure because it's easy to get there a year after things have been set up and you've got all the processes in place. But I can tell you, I've been there from the initial. When we first got to Saudi Arabia in 1990, there was nothing. We were like, I literally slept in the driver's seat of my Humvee many nights because we just didn't have barracks or anything. So like that kind of thing where the initial people going in and discoveries they make and how are we going to
And
get
the
this to
dangers they
work? Yeah,
face.
and the
Sure.
dangers they face.
Mike, you were going to say something?
yeah, I think I know what I'd want to see. S- Quite literally, Star Trek: First Contact, um, where it it would begin like the moment that contact is made, and each episode would focus on an aspect, and it would be you know within a very specific time period. So for first episode would be like the first 24 hours. The second episode would be a week out. Third episode would be like a month out, to where we get to see the ramifications of what first contact truly is like, um, just beyond that initial meeting, and what it takes in order to set up a relationship with this new species, whether it breaks down into something more aggressive, or whether it's something that eventually leads into um, a more stable, friendly relationship, or even admittance into the Federation. But that's kind of, I think,
What
what would
about
be
a
kind of
first
cool.
contact that fails spectacularly?
I mean, that would definitely be interesting to see. But that's kind of what I would want, is to see what that process is like, but not just, but it would be one of those shows where every episode would be like a little bit further out in time a little bit further out from that initial contact, and we get to see how things have evolved. So it doesn't necessarily have to start off hostile, but it could definitely end up that way if there's some kind of miscommunication, and that would definitely be something interesting to see is how communication is handled and how the different cultures clash. I mean, those are things that would not be noticed right away. These are things that only would come to light, weeks, days, weeks, months, sometimes even years down the road.
I would have one rule for any of these series.
Okay.
No, and I'm being serious. Just because someone's a senior diplomat or a senior officer or whatever, they are not allowed to be insane. Admiral Ross would be the template.
Okay, I agree with that. No bad admirals. Tropey.
And no automatically nefarious politicians.
Well,
Or
I
even
think
dicks like Fox.
I think when I was telling Son and I were talking in the chat room, and based on Mike's thing about the idea of following up on a first contact, you know, and me saying, not all the ramifications of a first contact aren't usually, and I can't imagine that any of them would be smooth by any stretch of the imagination. They're
which I
all
think would
going,
make
Shit,
which
we
would
couldn't
make
even
them
have human to
interesting, I
human
think.
first contact without disaster.
well, and then that's it, right? I mean, look at what we deal with just on a planetary level, let alone an interplanetary. The idea that first contact is going to be uh, uh life and society altering from the
Yeah.
moment that it occurs.
Just think about if uh, what's his name, Gort and the day the Earth stood still. Just think if a alien ship landed on the mall in Washington D.C.
We
Our
blow
planet
ourselves up.
would change overnight.
Yeah,
Overnight.
we would blow ourselves up because we can't handle the idea. Truly, the majority, yes, there are rational people, and I'd like to think we're all part of them. And I would think that Star Trek fans, most of all, be that as it may, the majority of people on this planet are not mentally ready for the idea that there really might be truly power, and this is where the rub is, right? Anybody who comes here is automatically more powerful than we are.
I think a lot of people would just have uh, there's so many people that while they can say they believe in life on other planets, it's just so hard for them to wrap their head around
Yep.
the idea of there could be people on another planet having a conversation like this about their mass media and entertainment and stuff like that. And for people that's hard to or just how alien is. We can say the Japanese culture is alien or the Chinese culture is no, it's not. We're still all human beings. I think if another race, and I don't think they would look like us at all, were to come down and somehow we were able to communicate with them, I think so many of the stupid, um, I'll just say skin deep problems that we have would become so
Right.
meaningless. And there's a whole group of people that would be the end of the world for them.
And
For
that's what I
that to
mean.
go away, for you know,
Their
for
entire basis of reason for existence has been absolutely challenged. Everything they knew to be real is now no longer real.
suddenly is a Jew the most horrible or alien thing to somebody else, or a color of somebody's skin, or how look at this split in Sunni and Shia.
Right?
Would that suddenly be? You'd be like,
When all of a sudden all of those things all of them are being challenged at a level that never had been challenged before.
and Robert Reyes says, "Are bad Commodores okay?" No, and this is this gets to my problem. It's just such a tropey thing, and not just Star Trek, just the general or the commander or whatever is just this power mad. Really, the
Yes,
The,
all
the
of
hi- oh,
I know.
it's just so.
Well, you don't need here's the thing, though, you don't need a bad admiral, you don't need a bad commodore. As a matter of fact, the more compelling story is and would be
A
the
strong
road
leader.
to hell,
Yeah.
right? The road to hell is paved with what?
Good
Fire and
intentions.
Good
brimstone.
good good intentions. Good intentions. A bunch of people with nothing more than the best intentions, even still, are going to find that a first contact isn't easy,
And
despite their best intentions. What's up?
what if one of the people?
Oop, Mike,
Did we lose
you went
him?
out. You have to try that again.
Yeah, and
Hold on, I want to hear what he has to say. Mike, your mic is out. You're out. I can't hear you. I can hear you from the other room. Did you unplug your mic?
did you hit the mute button?
Does he have a mute button? I can hear. I just hear this mumbling from the other room. I have no idea what he's saying. Oh no! Because it was a great point, and I wanted to hear it. He's like, "Oh, something, something."
I can hear him in the background. Oh no! Is he restarting?
TeamSpeak locked up on him.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick, while he's coming back, if it were that, I would have a rule in it. No one on the mission to sabotage it. No kind of
Yeah,
external.
no, just show.
Mic check, mic check.
There you go.
Yay!
Yeah, Mike,
Okay.
I just said no kind of sabotage involved. Nobody on the mission trying to sabotage it or anything like
Oh,
that.
of course.
It has
But
to, well, because it's easy to write that in. The Dr. Smith.
yeah,
There has to be
but
conflict.
what if someone on the first contact team was nursing the Adosian flu
Yeah,
just by mistake?
yeah.
They thought they were over it,
Oh,
or
War of
they
the
didn't even
Worlds.
know, they were infected with it, and next thing you know, they unleashed this plague
Yeah.
on
Right?
on this unsuspecting society.
So you could do an entire series, no lie, an entire series, not more than 10. You could just do first contact teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where something like the Enterprise goes out, makes the initial contact, and then you've got the follow-up team, like you said, the ones that really go out
Like Chen,
and
yeah.
and actually set up shop.
Yeah.
That's the team I would like to follow,
How
because you're
would
going to
you
get political intrigue, medical, legal,
how would you
ethics,
how would you
everything.
inoculate them? Because you don't know what
You
these other
don't know
people
them.
are. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So
and
you're
then
going to see, really, at the end of all things, that
They
first
would,
contacts should always be vocal only,
and then
until
the other.
such time as you're able to connect and make sure that you trade information as to diseases and bacteria and what affects you, and learn about yourself before you ever make physical first contact.
And like the team I was talking about, even if it's an unpopulated planet, you can still unwittingly, like Mike was saying, be carrying something
Oh
that
shit.
destroys the environment without even knowing it.
And probably would, on its face.
Now, I will say this: any first contact involving BB Newirth, I'm there.
yeah. I mean, uh, when just the idea of an evasive species. I mean, something that you were carrying. I mean, look at the Black Death. It ravaged Europe and probably Asia as well, and it was because of the fleas on rats. But how did those rats get around? They traveled with people.
Yeah.
They hid in boats, in wagons, and
And we still have the same problem today with airplanes and snakes and other critters and again, people don't realize, there's groups of people at airports that all they do is inspect airplanes to make sure that snakes
Mhm.
don't get into Hawaii or other things. That's all their job is to make sure that those invasive species stay out.
Well,
It's
it's even we were not
amazing.
allowed when we came home from Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Iraq and all of that. People wanted to just take a little bottle and put some sand in it as a memento. This is from where not allowed.
Oh, yeah. Well, think about it.
No, yeah, no, I'm just saying people don't realize.
Don't
And
realize how
the
simple.
customs, when we would go through customs to leave, we would have to go in this room and we would take, now it's not like you going on a cruise where you have all these bags and everything. We just had our 2 or 3 duffel bags, but we had to dump every single thing into this big bin and then in front of an inspector put it all back in so that they could see every single thing that we were taking out of the country with us.
Yeah, I understand why, though. I mean, because after what happened in Guam,
Hmm.
and if you don't know, just look up or just Google Guam snake.
Well, we've got
It just
look
takes
at the
one.
look at the invasive plant life that we have that came over from Asia. Those things that
Fish, even. I
yeah.
mean,
Oh, great example.
Oh, great example.
yeah. I mean, they're just devastating entire ecosystems. Um,
The mussels in the Great Lakes right now that are
Yeah,
killing everything in the Great Lakes.
the stink bugs that came over.
Ew, stink bugs. Oh, kissing beetles. Those kill people, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I just think it would be interesting. That would be my take on it.
A good call on both of you. I think it's great. Mike, did you get to talk about what you didn't get to talk about when your mic froze?
yeah, which was the idea of the plague thing,
Cool.
But yeah, for me, I think the most interesting thing would be a First Contact series where we get to see the entire process. Like I said, um, I think it would be very interesting, to start off with that initial contact, what that is like, and then how progressing from there, with each progression, you know, have it have the time frame be a little further out each time. That way you get a broader view of the entire process, and yeah, I mean, it covers everything. You can have a medical episode, you can have a legal episode, a cultural episode, an episode where there's some kind of mass miscommunication. I mean, there's just so much you can do with it, and it can cover the entire gamut. I think it just provides the most interesting and the most diverse opportunities for a 10 episode Star Trek series.
I couldn't agree more. Oh
And
my
that,
God.
like I said, that initial First Contact, like you had described, it could be TNG, but then it's the people that get left behind to handle the whole thing from that point forward. That's where
Yeah.
it really gets interesting, and where things could really take off.
I like it. Oh, um, I think that kind of wraps things up. Do we have any other announcements, Mikey?
I will be heading home on Tuesday.
Oh, they're finally releasing you? So your mom paid the ransom?
She paid me in Bitcoin.
I have to admit, I am pleased to finally to go home, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm going to miss everyone here. It's been great, but at the same time, I feel like I've inconvenienced I've overturned their life.
Which is
You
so
know,
not the case. Mike knows that he's just part of the family and his room is ready
Yeah.
anytime he wants to come over and stay. That's seriously, that's just how it is. You did not
Thanks.
inconvenience us. If anything, we owe you a just so much for taking care of our house and our dogs and the new computer and building it all for me, and it's so pretty. We it's our home is yours, Mike. You come home
Appreciate
anytime
that.
you want. But I totally understand because you have a little queen need to go visit.
Yes, and I miss my nephews and my niece, and yeah. So that's kind of like the hardest part for being here is not because I got you get used to seeing them every day, or every weekend, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's not all of a sudden, but it's gone long enough. I need to see my kids,
I don't blame you. But again, thanks again, Mike. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Yes.
Um, I'll be
But
back. I'll be
ne-
back by then. Yeah, I'm going to Alaska this week. So
that's awesome.
speaking of meeting my clients in person.
But yeah, next week, I'll be home, and things will be a little bit back to normal in terms of getting the show out and stuff. Um, I know that we are an episode behind on our website. 277 is not there. It's been edited, but there are no show notes for it, so that's why it has not been posted. But I have. That's one of the first things I'm going to do once I get home and settled, and then this episode should hopefully follow. So it's going to be a little while before everything gets fully back to normal, but yeah, just realize that we are behind schedule, but we'll get everything caught up.
Yeah, and I'm hoping sometime in the near future, I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but I may have to take time off because I had my MRI this week and we're checking to see if I need surgery on my neck.
Okay.
Good
Well,
luck, Nick.
we love you, and we hope that everything is
Yeah, they're
not.
saying it's a
Yeah.
possible bulging disc, which would require
Yikes.
surgery.
Yeah.
It could also be a pinched nerve, but causing the neck to lock up and the tingling to shoot down both arms. Whatever it is, it just needs to stop because it's getting to the point where it's interfering with how I live, to be honest.
I'm sure it is.
Steve
Well,
has an
I
announcement.
I, I lay down at night and it's like both my arms are tingling like they're going to sleep, but they're
yeah.
not. And it's just I had trouble holding a pen the other day just to sign my signature.
Oh, honey,
Oh
I'm
man, that's
sorry.
not good.
And I'm hoping it's not MS because my mom has it and her dad had it, so we'll see.
Get tested, sweetheart.
Steve has an
Steve.
announcement.
Steve has an announcement. Steve?
Next month, I'm going to be walking 10,000 steps every single day for all of June to raise money for cancer research. So if people can help sponsor me, I'd be very grateful.
Make sure the links for whatever we can do to help get in the show notes, my dear.
Will do.
Steve
Awesome.
has the verbiage for the next two Gettysburg addresses. So hopefully this week they'll both go out. I trust Steve to space them and do all that. Yeah, I said I trust Steve. Okay.
Right on.
The draft's already done, so just
See,
waiting.
look at that.
Okay.
With the O Sports show and with Rebecca from Supergirl podcast, right, Steve?
Supergirl Radio.
Supergirl Radio. I keep saying podcast. I don't know why. She's very wrong about everything. She's very wrong.
My birthday's next month. It's on the 12th of
Yay.
June. So
What a pimp! What a pimp!
I am accepting gifts. Contact me and I'll
You
we
can
can
set
make
up an
arrangements.
IGG or a
Now, meanwhile,
Kickstarter,
Mike, you know what you're going to end up getting is a bunch of people sending you GIFs.
Gifts.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Mm.
All right, before we go,
Klingon porn.
Before we go, and it's not a Star Trek thing, I really wanted to talk about what happened on Critical Role this week. Did you guys happen to see?
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
All right, so for any of you who play RPGs, dice games, or anything like that, There is a character in Critical Role by the name of Keyleth, played by Marisha Ray. And Marisha plays kind of like this
Okay, Terry, I'm very
what
confused
what
because I've not seen the show. So
yeah.
is this a scripted show? Is it a
It is a
dramedy?
it is a flat out it is a flat out D&D game. It is 7 people
But
playing.
are they actors or
They
is
are
it
all
just
voiceover actors, yes. So
okay?
they're professional actors doing a role-playing game.
It's all off the cuff. They don't know what's going to happen. The GM is the only one that kind of guides the story, but he
So are
doesn't
they
even
using
know.
their own names or are you talking about their character names?
Their character names. So the
Okay, okay, that's
character
where I was
name is
confused.
Keyleth, and the character's name is Keyleth. She is a druid, and the character is rolled by Marisha Ray, who is a voiceover actress.
Okay, okay, now I get it.
And she of the 7 players that have been playing this one campaign, this one group of people, they've been playing this game for no lie 4.5 years now. So they're all about level 15. And she is the only one who had never died before. Everybody else had died
Okay.
once but was resurrected. But her character is like this the character has, again, they create these amazing, deep, wonderful, meaningful characters. And Keyleth is kind of she has social anxiety kind of thing. She's very awkward in social situations. That's the way that Marisha plays her. And she's kind of naive and a little bit ditzy, but she's fucking brilliant when it comes to the powers that she has. So she's this druid. So she's a
I don't know.
spellcaster. I know, right? She's
After
adorable.
this last weekend, I don't know about brilliant.
Well,
but-
that's the thing, right? She's kind of ditzy.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
her character is she's probably the most powerful character of the group. She has the ability to raise the dead or to fucking control weather, right? She can fucking control weather. She can turn into any creature that she desires. She can poof, I'm a bird. Poof, I'm a dragon. Poof,
Oh,
I'm
she's like one of the Wonder Twins.
Yeah, except more than just water.
Form of an ice dildo.
Well, what happened this week was was it a diamond? What was thrown into
Okay,
the
so
ocean?
Vex's character, which is another character, she's kind of the greedy one. So after the boss fight, this boss drops a diamond into like the surf at the bottom of a cliff. She has a broom. She decides she's going to fly down to go get it. And realizes she can't reach it. So she needs to get the druid to help her grab this diamond that's kind of in this
In the
rough
bottom.
on the bottom of this rough set of kind of like waves up against the rocks at the bottom of a cliff.
It's also really deep where
It's like and the top of the cliff where Keyleth is standing is 1,500 feet above where the diamond is at the base of the cliff in the rough in the seas. So
I thought the diamond was underwater.
it is underwater.
Okay,
It's
so
underneath the waves at the base, right? But they can see it. It's on it's underneath the water by like 15 or it was a long way.
Too much for her to swim to.
Right. So the thing is that Keyleth can turn people into fish. So she wants to go get Keyleth 1,500 feet up to bring her back down to go get the diamond. When Keyleth arbitrarily decides she's going to take a swan dive off the edge of the cliff. And instead of, turning herself into a bird, she turned herself into a goldfish. And proceeded to smash her.
The cliff face wasn't sheer. It wasn't straight up and down. It was slightly angled.
Oh God.
So she jumps off the edge of this cliff, no lie, screaming, I am a god.
Yeah.
When her dungeon master, Matt Mercer, who also happens to be her real life fiance, looks at her in absolute abject horror. Like, what the hell did you just do? I have to roll for damage now, and you have a straight fall damage, which is like 20d6 damage plus. He rolled. Oh my God. He took a handful of dice, rolled them, took a picture. She took 366 damage. It was instant death.
Permadeath.
It,
It is. It was so. She was so dead. I mean, there was like very little.
the only thing that saved
She was like
her,
a squirrel that got hit by an 18-wheeler.
it was her.
Yeah.
And we all just kind of went, what? The
Did you ever see
moment
that
she said, and
video?
I turned into a goldfish, we all looked at her and we were all like, oh my God, what? Bird! No! You turned into a bird!
Did you ever see that video of the bunny that was running across, I think it was a NASCAR track, in the middle of a race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Apparently, Casey is concerned because I'm yelling. Oh, big baby. It was, no lie, the most shocking and yet horrifically hilarious points in Critical Role I'd ever seen, because she looked at it, the look on his face when he had to look at his fiance in the eye going, dude, your character just died, was heartbreaking and hilarious at the same time. The good news is that there happened it just by, and I do mean pure chance, if she hadn't have had this resurrection, not a resurrection stone, but it was a stone of revivification on her. The person who had the broom, Vex, Keyleth wouldn't have been brought back. She would have been dead. There was no way that they could have brought her back in time. It was insane. It was probably one of the funniest things. And again, if you guys ever want it, they find a way to turn a Dungeons and Dragons game into a pure television show built with the best drama and comedy I've seen in a long time. So
That's why I enjoy Tabletop with Will Wheaton.
yes, for the very same reason.
There are some of the funniest interactions, and for people that give Tabletop a whirl, give Critical Role a whirl, it's just it's so much fun, and it shows the old stereotype of the Funyuns and Mountain Dew in the basement, but it's so much more than that.
It is. Tabletop and Critical Role, you guys. Geek and Sundry. Follow him on Twitch.
Mike,
subscribe.
see if you can get Will Wheaton on our show so we can
Yeah,
discuss Tabletop. And
actually,
other
I'd love to
things.
get Matt Mercer on the show. Holy shit.
And have you read Will Wheaton's books?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I love them. I read them in Iraq.
They're very fun.
Yeah.
One last quick announcement. Live, Love, Play.
No,
God,
I'm kidding.
What is it? Gods of Yukon.
Yep.
So yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that. With that. So also check it out.
And
it's our attempt at some role play this week. I I think I tried to pull off a Bugs Bunny.
Hey, question for you guys. Because I was debating someone about this. Bugs Bunny, gay?
Asexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just pretty much open to anything.
He's an experimenter. Did we lose Mike?
I'm thinking thoughtfully.
He's open to anything, including carrots.
It's true.
Yes,
I wouldn't compare him exactly to Riker, but I think he's definitely really open. I mean, he kisses men, women, monsters. I mean, I don't think
you're right. He is a Riker.
I think he's just way, but
Bugs is comfortable with himself. We'll just say that.
Yeah, very comfortable.
I was having a debate with someone about that, and they refused to see any other. I was just like, are you kidding? Really?
He definitely has some swagger.
He's swagger.
It's unique, but he's got some swagger.
So we do not have a longer live, love, play.
No,
No.
Okay.
I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, Ross, come on now. It was funny, and you even had to admit it.
Okay, Ron
And if you didn't
Perlman
stick
just
around-
tweeted, and it was so cute.
If you all didn't stick around through our credits last week, we've become Marvel. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, right. That's kidding. All right. All right. We do need to go. Happy Mother's Day to every mother.
And single father.
That's right. So we'll have a fabulous day, a fabulous Sunday. Hope everything goes well for this week. And please join us again next week for episode 279. Until then, live long and prosper.
Kapla!
Like the Facebook page, Sunday GNT. Goodbye.
Happy Mother's Day. Be New Earth Rocks. GNT 278. Joe True Bitches.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Grethor. The
Could we add more
GNT show
bands?
is a BLB production.
We need to get invocation.
Move ahead, walk back to 10.
You're not gonna sing, Terry?
Put a mini skirt on my
Yeoman, sorry.
represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line
Once before, but I'm not too sure.
We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls.
You're still here.
Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy.
Snowman Frost, not the theater without throwing out the trash. Please, thank you. Pick that up. Pick it up.
I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see?
Put your shirt on.
A zero-G community. Come and take
Midgets
a
dancing.
tour
I'm sorry,
with
little
me.
people dancing around the big delta.
There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends with aliens. To boldly go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. To boldly go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Space happy.
Do you think they bought it this week? You think they actually believed it?
That the show ended?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they probably did, because I think our chat room's actually pretty empty.
Yeah. It was very quiet today.
Yeah, it was, but it was Mother's Day, so people are probably
Oh,
brunching.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so
Look who's still here, though.
us. Yeah.
Well, Son's been watching movies on her phone the entire time, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the theater, yeah. I don't think she likes the theater.
Snowman Frost is still in the chat room too.
Well,
Yeah, he.
There's no accounting for taste.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.